Welcome back. Oh boy, man. Oh boy. Welcome back, Kingdom Builders, Road Trippers. Welcome back to the road trip. Welcome back, everybody, right? That's right. MISHPAHCAH, family and friends, Akeem and Akatim, brothers and sisters, mothers and fathers, aunties and uncles, grandmas and grandpas, everybody in the house. Shalom, shalom. Peace and blessings. All right, man. All praises to the Most High, man. Let's dip in. Let's wash up real quick before we even get started, man. All right? All praises to the Most High, Yahweh. All right, glory to Yahweh Shai. Honors to the Ruach. My love and my respect to you. Bathed in water, bathed in fire. We're about to get these scrolls, okay? Shalom. Shalom, man. And I'm saying peace and blessings to your homes, right? Your dwelling places where you stay at, right? Right. Peace and blessings to your children and your friends and your loved ones and your fur baby pets, right? Peace and blessings to even your co-workers, because you got to deal with that while you're out there making a living, right? I don't care if they're Heathen 83. Peace and blessings at least while they're at work, so you can have peace of mind. Hallelujah. That's right. That is right, man. So everybody, welcome back to the road trip. All right, cool. What are we doing? Where are we at, man? We're in the works of Flavius Josephus, the Jewish Antiquities, air quotes, man, the Antiquities of the Yahudim. Stop playing with me. All right, we're in chapter 4 in book number 3. All right, in chapter 4, how Reuel, or Jethro, right, how Reuel suggested to Moshe to set his people in order under the rules of thousands and rulers of hundreds who lived without order before, and how Moshe complied in all things with his father-in-law's advice. All right, that's what we're going to read right now. All right, and looking at this, we got a couple sections and one note at the end of 4. Looking at 5, we're going to go ahead and read through that. We're going to punch through that. Oh, yeah, 5 is lengthy. So if we can go ahead and put 4 and 5 together, it's going to take a little time. Right? And there's some notes. There's some notes in between there. And there's also another note we'll come back to that takes up a whole page. Josephus on Moshe, right? It's his account on Moshe. And you're talking about somebody who lived around 70 AD. So, you know, I kind of want to hear what he's got to say. You know what I mean? All right. So, with no further ado, you know, if you have these scrolls available to you, the works of Flavius Josephus, I still haven't figured out how to find this online so I can post it so you can read along with me. I really want that kind of participation. That would be amazing. But if you can find the works of Flavius Josephus, either in hard copy or digital, then please, if you like, follow along. If not, sit back and relax, and I'll read for you. You know what I'm saying? That's what we do over here. We'll be scribing, all right? So, love you all. Let's prepare our minds and our hearts to accept this word of the Most High. All right? No further ado, chapter 4. Let's begin. Chapter 4, Section 1, and it reads, The next day, as Reuel, Jethro, saw Moshe in the middle of a crowd doing business, for he determined the disputes of those that referred them to him, everyone still going to him, and supposing that they should then only obtain justice if he were the arbitrator, Salake. And those that lost their causes thought it no harm, while they thought they lost them justly, and not by partiality. Right? He was a fair judge. All right. So Reuel, Jethro, however, said nothing to him at that time, as not desirous to be any hindrance to such as had a mind to make use of the judgment of their leader. But afterward he took him to himself, and when he had him alone, he instructed him in what he ought to do, and advised him to leave the trouble of lesser causes to others, but himself to take care of the greater and of the people's safety. Salake, sorry, I had something in my throat right there. All right, let's go back. All right. Of the greater and of the people's safety, for that certain others of the Hebrews might be found that were fit to determine causes, but that nobody but a Moshe could take of the safety of so many 10,000s. But be therefore, he says, insensible, he says, of your own virtue, and what you have done by ministering under the Most High Yahweh to the people's preservation. Permit, therefore, the determination of common causes to be done by others, but do you reserve yourself to the attendance of the Most High only, and look out for the methods of preserving the multitude from their present distress. Make use of the method I suggest to you as to human affairs, and take a review of the army, and get a census, right? And appoint chosen rulers over tens of thousands, and then over thousands. Then divide them into 500s, and again into hundreds, and into 50s, and set rulers over each of them, who may distinguish them into 30s, and keep them in order. And at last number them by 20s and by 10s, and let there be one commander over each number, to be denominated, right? To be denominated from the number of those over whom they are rulers, but such as the whole multitude have tried, and do approve of as being good and righteous men. And let those rulers decide the controversies they have with one another. But if any great cause arise, let them bring the cognizance, right? Let them bring that issue, right, that smoke of it before the rulers of higher dignity. But if any great difficulty arise that is too hard for even their determination, let them send it to you. By these means, two advantages will be gained. The Hebrews will have justice done to them, and you will be able to attend constantly on the Most High, right? And procure him to be more favorable to the people. That's the end of section 1. And I like that. It's righteous order. There are ranks in this thing. Rulers over thousands, rulers over hundreds, right? Rulers over tens, rulers over 20s, right? And then individual workers, man. Servants of the Most High. Sons and daughters of Yahweh, right? That's right. Following in the footsteps of our big brother, king, high priest, right? Order of Melchizedek, the first fruit, Yahweh Shai. What's up, man? Let's get section 2 and then move on over into chapter 5, all right? All right, cool. All right, section 2, and it reads, all right, or verse 2. Well, not verse 2, section 2. This was the admonition of Reuel, and Moshe received his advice very kindly and acted according to his suggestion. Nor did he conceal the origin of this method, nor pretend to it himself, but informed the multitude who it was that thought of it. In fact, he was named Reuel in the books he wrote. He has named him as the person who thought of this ordering of the people, as thinking it right to give a true testimony to worthy persons, although he might have gotten reputation by ascribing to himself the ideas of other men. And see, that's what we don't do. If somebody does something great, lift them up on your shoulders. You know what I'm saying? You don't got to say about what part you had in it. You know what I mean? That has nothing to do with it. Let the Most High bless, right? You don't need to seek blessings from men. All right, let's continue. Thus we may learn the virtuous disposition of Moshe, but of such his disposition we shall have proper occasion to speak in other places of these books. That's the end of section 2. Let's read this note. All right, cool. Yeah, all right. I love you. You know that? I love you. Strongly, very strong. All right. All right, chapter 4, note, singular. There's only one. All right, so it says, note number 1, point. This manner of electing the judges and officers of the Israelites, the Yahudim, by the testimonies and votes of the people, before they were ordained by the Most High Yahweh, or by Moshe, deserves to be carefully noted because it was the pattern of the like manner of the choice, and ordination of bishops, right? Presbyters, and deacons in the Christian church, right? So, we don't like the Christian church, right? Anyway. That's the end of chapter 4, and we're going to roll right on over here to chapter 5, how Moshe ascended up to Mount Sinai and received laws from the Most High Yahweh and delivered them to the Hebrews, right? Now we're talking about the tablets, right? We're talking about the 10 laws. These are the royal laws. These are the laws of liberty, okay? The 10 commandments. I'm not talking about the 613, all right? Let's continue over into chapter 5. Prepare yourself, get some water, whatever, take a stretch. All right, let's get ready to get some more of this. Let's go. Chapter 5, section 1, and it reads, Now Moshe called the multitude together and told them that he was going from them unto Mount Sinai to converse with the Most High Yahweh, to receive from him and to bring back with him a certain oracle. But he directed them to pitch their tents near the mountain and prefer the habitation that was nearest to the Most High Yahweh before one more remote. Right? He wanted them close, right, under the mountain. When he had said this, he ascended up to Mount Sinai, which is the highest of all the mountains that are in that country. And it is not only very difficult to be ascended by men on account of its vast altitude, but because of the sharpness of its precipices also. Very jagged rocks. Indeed, it cannot be looked at without pain of the eyes. And besides this, it was terrible and inaccessible, on account of the rumor that passed about that the Most High Yahweh dwelt there. But the Hebrews removed their tents as Moshe had bidden them and took possession of the lowest parts of the mountain and were elevated in their minds in expectation that Moshe would return from the Most High with promises of the good things he had proposed to them. So they feasted and waited for their leader and kept themselves pure as in other respects and not accompanying with their wives for 3 days. So they couldn't sleep with their women, right? Gentlemen, no booty for 3 days, okay? That's what it says. As he had before ordered them to do. And they prayed, right? This is the order of supplication. Pay attention. And they prayed to the Most High Yahweh that he would favorably receive Moshe in his conversing with him and bestow some such gift upon them by which they might live well. They also lived more plentifully as to their diet. They ate well, right? They weren't putting trash in their body. Well, also partially because they were in the wilderness and there wasn't much available. They had to eat clean, and what they brought with them, their provisions were running out, okay? And put on their wives and children more ornamental and decent clothing than they usually wore. So they dressed up, right? It's like you used to do when, you were in that Christian church, right? You used to dress up for Easter, get a little bit special, get a little bit nicer, right? That's what they did, right? But for a righteous reason. All right, that's the end of section 1. Let's continue, family. All right, continuing on, section 2, and it reads, So they passed 2 days in this way of feasting. But on the 3rd day, before the sun was up, a cloud spread itself over the whole camp of the Hebrews, such a one as none had ever seen before, and encompassed the place where it had pitched their tents. Where they had all pitched their tents, right? And while all the rest of the air was clear, there came strong winds that raised up large showers of rain, which became a mighty tempest. Wow! There was also such lightning, as was terrible to those that saw it, and thunder, with his thunderbolts, were sent down and declared that the Most High Yahweh to be there present in a gracious way to such as Moshe desired he should be gracious. Now, as to these matters, every one of my readers may think as he pleases, Salake, but I am under a necessity of relating this history as it is describing in the sacred books. This sight and the amazing sound that came to their ears disturbed the Hebrews to a great degree, for they were not such as they were accustomed to. And then the rumor that was spread about how the Most High Yahweh frequented that mountain greatly astonished their minds. So they sorrowfully contained themselves within their tents, as both supposing Moshe to be destroyed by the divine wrath and expecting the like destruction for themselves. All right, that's the end of section 2. Do you see that? Like when the clapping of the thunders and all that, and the lightning was coming down, and basically explosions and fire and sparks were flying off the top of that mountain. They're down there like they could feel the rumble in the ground. They're like, oh yeah, he just went up there and died. Yep, he just got murdered by by the Most High because he walked on sacred grounds, because they heard the rumors, right? So they're down in their tents like, we don't even want to go outside right now. Our leader's dead, and so what do we do next, right? And that's going to also give precedence to why they're going to start doing some idolatry later, right? Why has it been gone for so long? Oh, man, that Naga, he's surely dead. Yo, he's surely dead. We haven't seen him for 40 days? Yeah, he's gone. He's gone. What are we doing now? You know what I mean? So we need to rely on something that we knew, right? So they're going to go back to their heathen idols, because that's what they worship back in Mizraim, right? They think that the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the Hebrews, you know what I mean, they think he just blew up our leader. We don't want to go up there. All right. So anyway, that's the end of section 2. Let's go ahead and read section 3. All right, let's continue. Section 3, and it reads, when they were under these apprehensions, Moshe appeared as joyfully and greatly exalted. When they saw him, they were freed from their fear and admitted more comfortable hopes as of what was to come. The air also was become clear and pure of its former disorders, upon the appearance of Moshe, whereupon he called together the people to a congregation in order to have their hearing of what Yahweh the Most High would say to them. And when they were gathered together, he stood on a high place, where they might all hear him, and said, the Most High Yahweh has received me graciously, O Hebrews, as he has formerly done, and has suggested a happy method of living for you, and an order of political government, and is now present in the camp. I therefore charge you, for his sake and the sake of his works, and what we have done by his means, that you do not put a low value on what I am going to say, because the commands have been given by me, that now deliver them to you, nor because it is the tongue of man that delivers them to you. But if you have a due regard to the great importance of the things themselves, you will understand the greatness of him whose instructions they are, right? And who has not disdained to communicate them to me for our common advantage. For it is not to be supposed that the author of these institutions is barely Moshe, the son of Amram, and Jochebed, but he who obliged the Nile to run bloody for your sakes, and tamed the haughtiness of the Egyptians by various sorts of judgment. He who provided a way through the sea for us, he who contrived the method of sending us food from heaven, when we were distressed for want of it. He who made the water to issue out of a rock, when he had very little it before. He by whose means Adam was made to partake of the fruits both of the land and of the sea. He by whose means Noah escaped the deluge. He by whose means our forefather Abraham, of a wandering pilgrim, was made the heir of the land of Canaan. He by whose means Isaac was born of parents that were of old, right? He by whose means Jacob, Yaakov, was adorned with 12 virtuous sons. He by whose means Joseph became a potent Adon over the Egyptians. It is who conveys these instructions to you by me as his interpreter. Salake, y'all, Salake, bear with me, and let them be to you venerable and contended for more earnestly by you than your own children and your own wives. For if you will follow them, you will lead a happy life. You will enjoy the land fruitful, the sea calm, and the fruit of the womb born complete, as nature requires. You will be able terrible. You will be also terrible to your enemies, for I have been admitted into the presence of the Most High, and been made a hearer of his incorruptible voice. So great is his concern for you and your nation, Yasharallah, and its duration, Yasharallah, into section 3. Huh? That's right. He loves you. He loves you, girl. He loves you, boy. You know what I'm saying? He loves you, family. MISHPAHCAH. Let's continue. All right. Section 4. When he had said this, he brought the people with their wives and children so near the mountain that they might hear the Most High himself speaking unto them about the precepts which they were to practice, that the energy of what should be spoken might not be hurt by its utterance, by that tongue of a man which could but imperfectly deliver it to their understanding. And they all heard a voice that came to all of them from above, insomuch that no one of these words escaped them, which Moshe wrote on 2 tables, which it is not lawful for us to set down directly, but their import we will declare. That is the end of section 4. Selah. Section 5. The first commandment teaches us that there is but one Elohai, right? And that we ought to worship him only. The second commands us not to make the image of any living creature to worship it. The third, that we must not swear by the Most High Yahweh in a false matter. You shouldn't swear by him at all, basically. The fourth, that we must keep the 7th day, the Shabbat, by resting from all sorts of work. The fifth, that we must honor our parents. The sixth, that we must abstain from murder. The seventh, that we must not commit adultery. The eighth, that we must not be guilty of theft. The ninth, that we must not bear false witness. Stop lying, Naga. Stop lying. The 10th, that we must not admit to the desire of anything that is not ours, that is somebody else's, that is another's. Into section 5, you know the laws. That's the royal law, the law of liberty, man. Section 6, let's continue. Now, when the multitude had heard the Most High himself giving those precepts which Moshe had spoken of, they rejoiced at what he said. And the congregation was dissolved. But on the following days they came to his tent and asked him to bring them besides other laws from the Most High Yahweh. Accordingly, right, he appointed such laws, and afterwards informed them in what manner they should act in all cases, which laws I shall make mention of in their proper time. But I shall reserve most of those laws for another work. And there explain them, right? Because a lot of these other laws, that's the end of section 6, by the way, but a lot of these other laws are land laws that require you owning land. If your neighbor's sheep comes over into your land and does damage, there's laws for that, right? If your ram or your bull or your cow goes out in the road and kills another Hebrew, there's laws for that, right? There's laws if, certain crops are taken by other people. There's laws for that, right? And there's also, Levitical priest, and there's also a temple, a tabernacle that you can go to, and sacrifices that can be burnt on an altar. There's laws for that. But we got none of that. You don't have land. You don't have a flag. You don't have a nation that is physical. We have a spiritual nation. We can't adhere to a lot of these laws because they don't apply to us, right? When's the last time you seen a Hebrew slaying his adulterous wife on the steps of the courthouse, right? Because she committed adultery, right? We would be a nation of serial killers because of all of our cheating women, you know what I'm saying? And men, right? You don't see slaughter like that happening. People aren't following the 613, and there's a reason why, because we don't live in our own land uninhabited by the enemy, right? By the heathen. All right, let's continue reading, though. My goodness. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go into a tangent. But I'm saying, man, you can't follow them to the best of your abilities. You follow all of them or you follow none of them, man. You follow the royal law, and you can't keep those. Why do you think Yahweh Shai spoke of them, right? I didn't hear Yahweh Shai talk nothing about those 613. All right, anyway, let's continue. Section 7. When matters were brought to this state, Moshe went up again to Mount Sinai, of which he had told them beforehand. He made his ascent in their sight, And while he stayed there so long a time, for he was absent from them 40 days, fear seized upon the Hebrews, lest Moshe should have come to any harm. Nor was there anything else so sad, and that so much troubled them, as this supposal that Moshe was perished. Remember I said that? Because remember, it was a very hard ascent, and Moshe was not no young buck, man. He was an older gentleman, right? He was learned and wise at this age, all right? Now let's continue. Now there was a variety in their sentiments about it, some saying that he was fallen among the wild beasts, and those that were of this opinion were chiefly such as were ill disposed to him. But others said that he was departed and gone to the Most High, right? Like Enoch. They thought that he was just taken up. But the wiser sort were led by their reason to embrace neither of those opinions with any satisfaction, thinking that as it was a thing that sometimes happens to men to fall among wild beasts and perish that way, so it was probable enough that he might depart and go to the Most High on account of his virtue. They therefore were quiet and expected the event. Yet were they exceedingly sorry upon the assumption that they were deprived of a governor and a protector, such a one indeed as they could never have again. Nor would this suspicion give them leave to expect any comfortable event about this man. Nor could they prevent their trouble and melancholy upon this occasion. However, the camp dared not move on all this while, because Moshe had told them before to stay there. So they were still obedient. That's the end of section 7. We got one more section to read, section 8, and then we got a couple points and notes. There's 3 note points. And we're going to finish up chapter 5 and this read on book 3, Antiquities of the Yahudim, chapter 4 and 5. All right, hallelujah, man. Selah. Section 8, and it reads, But when the 40 days and as many nights were over, Moshe came down having tasted nothing of food. So he didn't eat nothing, usually appointed for the nourishment of men. He didn't eat nothing while he was up there for 40 days. His appearance filled the army with gladness, and he declared to them what care the Most High had of them, and by what manner of conduct of their lives they might live happily, telling them that during these days of his absence, the Most High Yahweh had suggested to him also that Moshe would have a tabernacle built for him, into which he would descend when he came to them, and how they should carry it about with them when they had left his place. And that there would be no longer any occasion for going up to Mount Sinai, but that the Most High Yahweh would himself come and pitch his tabernacle among them, and be present at their prayers, as also at the tabernacle should be of such measures and construction as the Most High had shown to Moshe. The Most High had shown to Moshe, and that they were to fall to the work immediately and prosecute it diligently, like now, like yesterday. Get started. When he had said this, he showed them the 2 tables with the 10 commandments engraved upon them, 5 upon each table, and the writing was by the hand of the Most High Yahweh. He didn't go up there with no tools. That's the end of section 8. He didn't take no tools up. He didn't take any tools up there with him. And he comes down with perfectly chiseled, engraved in Hebrew tablets. Hallelujah. Now let's get to these points. Let's get to these notes, all right? Let's go, family, MISHPAHCAH, and friends. All right, that's right. All right, chapter 5. Notes. Point number 1. Since this mountain Sinai is here said to be the highest of all the mountains that are in this country, it must be that now called St. Catherine's Monastery, which is 1/3 higher than that within a mile of it, now called Sinai, as Mons. Thevenot informs us, travels, part 1, chapter 23, page 168. The other name of it, Horeb, is never used by Josephus, and perhaps was its name among the Egyptians only. From where the Israelites, the Yahudim, were lately come, as Sinai was its name among the Arabians, Canaanites, and other nations. Accordingly, when 1 Kings chapter 9:8, the scripture says that Elijah came to Horeb, the mount of the Most High Yahweh, Josephus justly says, Antiquities, book number 8, chapter 13, section 7, that he came to the mountain called Sinai, and Jerome, here called by Dr. Hudson, That's my last name. That's crazy. All right. Says that he took this mountain to have two names, Sinai and Horeb. They no mean. Reference Hebrews, pages 427. That's the end of point number 1. Hallelujah. Are you with me? Are you paying attention? I love you. Yeah, I love y'all, man. Yeah. Get this word. Point number 2. Let's go, man. Of this and another like superstitions, notion of the Pharisees which Josephus complied with, see the notes on Antiquities, book number 2, chapter 12, section 4. All right, cool. Point number 3, and let it be, right, to the door. This other work of Josephus, here referred to, seems to be that which does not appear to have been ever published, which yet he intended to publish, about the reasons of many of the laws of Moshe, of which see the note on the preface, section 4. And we read that. We can go back, though. It's all right. We can go back, though. But that's the end of that. That's the end of the notes, man. All right. Hallelujah, man. I love y'all. You know that? You better know. If you don't know now, you know, naga. Nah, but all joking aside, man, you know we like to have fun. We like to josh it up a little bit, right? Okay, so on the next read, we're going to be in the chapter 6 of the Antiquities of the Yahudim, book 3. Chapter 6 concerning the tabernacle which Moshe built in the wilderness for the honor of the Most High Yahweh, and which seemed to be a temple, okay? We're talking about the building, the construction, right? Cedar from Lebanon, you know what I'm talking about? Yes, okay, right? Kingdom Builders, Road Trippers. We've read this before, but we're just going into more detail now, right? We're getting into the deeper parts of the onion, right? We're peeling back some layers, right? We're hearing some other things. But all praises to the Most High, you know? Thank you for being with me on this little road trip journey right here, right? We're going to gas up on the next one and get ready to jump back on this interstate. We got some new MISHPAHCAH in the back seat, and there's plenty of room, man. At this point, we're towing like a trailer behind us, right? We're getting there. All right, we're getting there. All right. So please, until we speak again, I want all of you to just be safe out there. Shalom and shalom, peace and blessings to you and your homes, your dwellings, right? Them children and them fur babies. Drive safely as you travel to and fro up and down the road to your respective places. And may your home and your life be full of blessings and love and just pure satisfaction at this point. All right? All praises. That's right. And you already know the deal, man. You know the program over here. It's always all praises to the Most High, ABBA Yahweh, man. All right. And my love and my respect to you. Okay? May the Ruach indwell within you this week. And, yes, I'll see you very, very soon. I love you all. Yeah.